Venezuela was once one of the richest nations in Latin America, a country blessed with the world's largest proven oil reserves. Today, it is a nation marked by hunger, mass migration, and political turmoil. At the center of this dramatic transformation stands one man, Nicolás Maduro. How did a former bus driver rise to the presidency? And how did his rule lead Venezuela into one of the worst crises in modern history? Nicolás Maduro Moros was born in 1962 in Caracas, Venezuela. He came from a working-class family and later worked as a bus driver. It was here, among workers and unions, that Maduro found his political voice. He embraced socialist ideals, believing the state should protect the poor and challenge elite power. But Maduro's destiny changed forever when he met a man who reshaped Venezuela, Hugo Chávez. Hugo Chávez rose to power in 1999, promising a revolution for the poor. His charisma was unmatched, his influence absolute. Nicolás Maduro became one of Chávez's most loyal followers. Maduro served as foreign minister, then vice president. He was not the most popular, nor the most experienced, but he was deeply loyal. When Chavez fell ill with cancer, he made a historic request. If something happens to me, choose Nicolás Maduro. In March 2013, Hugo Chávez died. Venezuela mourned and immediately faced uncertainty. Just weeks later, Nicolás Maduro ran for president. He won, but by less than 2%. The country was divided. Maduro entered office without Chávez's charisma and without a strong mandate. As public support weakened, Maduro chose control over compromise. Opposition parliament weakened. Courts aligned with executive power. New constituent assembly created. When the opposition won parliament in 2015, Maduro stripped it of authority. He leaned heavily on the military, granting generals control of food, oil, and ports. Power was consolidated, but democracy was eroded. Venezuela's economy depended almost entirely on oil. Under Maduro, mismanagement and corruption crippled production. Then came the crash. Inflation spiraled out of control, reaching millions of %. The currency became worthless. Salaries could no longer buy bread. Hospitals ran out of medicine. Hunger became widespread. Venezuelans took to the streets. They demanded food, jobs, freedom. The government responded with force. Protesters were arrested. Opposition leaders jailed or exiled. International human rights groups raised alarms. In 2019, opposition leader Juan Guaidó declared himself interim president. Over 50 countries recognized him. Nicolás Maduro was increasingly isolated. Sanctions followed. Trade collapsed further. Maduro turned to allies, Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba, to survive. More than 7 million Venezuelans fled their homeland. It became one of the largest migration crises in modern history. Families were separated, dreams abandoned. Nicolás Maduro remains in power. But his fall has been defined nature and man. It is defined by lost legitimacy, economic collapse, and a broken nation. Venezuela survives, but at an enormous cost. The story of Nicolás Maduro is not just about one man. It is a warning about power without accountability, ideology without pragmatism, and leadership without compassion. The question remains, can Venezuela rise again? After January 3rd, early 2025, Trump resumed aggressive rhetoric, labeling Maduro's government a narco-terrorist entity involved in drug trafficking and migration issues. November 2025, Trump spoke by phone with Maduro, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, discussing a potential meeting and deals on oil, detained Americans, and refugees. Maduro offered U.S. companies access to oil fields, but talks collapsed amid U.S. demands for Maduro's exit. Late 2025, Trump intensified pressure with naval blockades on Venezuelan oil tankers, strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean, and CIA-authorized actions inside Venezuela. January 2, 2026. Maduro, in interviews, rejected U.S. drug accusations as fabricated, comparing them to Iraq's WMD claims, but expressed openness to talks on drug trafficking and oil investment for peace. January 3, 2026. In a dramatic escalation, U.S. forces conducted large-scale strikes on Caracas and other sites. Trump announced the capture of Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, during a pre-dawn raid. They were flown to New York to face 2020 drug and weapons charges, with a new indictment adding family members. Trump stated the U.S. would temporarily run Venezuela, tapping its oil reserves and involving American companies until a safe transition. He praised the operation as brilliant and suggested Vice President Delcy Rodriguez as an interim figure willing to cooperate. Reactions: Republicans celebrated, Democrats and some allies criticized it as illegal intervention. World leaders, e.g. from Latin America, Europe, Russia, China, condemned it as violating sovereignty, drawing parallels to past U.S. actions like Panama, 1989, or Iraq, 2003. Venezuelan opposition figures like Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo Gonzalez called for a democratic transition,